Hello, my name is William Figge, founder of Clean Terawatts, and we will produce clean, renewable, 24/7 dispatchable power. Our goal is to help energize the worldwide transition to clean power. Now, currently, 80% of the world's power is produced by converting heat into electricity. It just so happens that our modern, updated updraft tower is by far the most efficient, least expensive, most sustainable way to convert heat into electricity. Right now, we're building our demo tower at the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator, so we're about 2 months away from having proof of concept. Behold the updraft tower, and as you can see, this huge bell at the bottom is well off the ground, allowing lots of room for almost 360 degrees of air to get sucked into the tower, where it comes in the bottom, gets squeezed into the little throat area. And we did computational fluid dynamics, and we were getting mass airflow rate very high. And in the throat, extremely high velocities were developed. And that's where it spins the turbine, which spins the generator. And there's no superheated high pressure steam that tends to like to tear metal apart. And with the proper choice of materials and just standard routine maintenance, we predict a very long lifespan for our towers. So we're going to start off with waste heat recovery. We'll get our heat from either power plants or industrial plants that need to throw away a lot of heat. Unfortunately, they don't always do it in the most responsible way. We can fix that. And then eventually we'll add geothermal heat, which gets exciting because then we can bring up any amount of heat that we need and do very big installations like 4 gigawatts. So, well, first we're starting with waste heat recovery. So this pie represents the total amount of heat that a power plant produces. The majority of power plants are currently about 1/3 efficient, and that means about 2/3 of the heat needs to be disposed of. So of this heat that's being thrown away, if we were just 50% efficient, that would mean we'd recover another 1/3, equaling the third they're putting out now, meaning we would double the output of the power plant. Well, we're not going to promise doubling, but an extra 50% power, and we become an important new source of clean, renewable energy. So here's the heat recovery closed loop cycle. So here's the power plant, and we'll play with any kind of power except for coal. And we do kind of favor the nuclear power plants, and I'll show you why in a minute. So the heat comes out of the plant and goes to the turbine, spinning the turbine, generating electricity. But then they need to throw 2/3 of the heat away, as we just discussed. So here's the closed loop of getting the heat to us. They send very hot water to us, and we return very cold water. In fact, we can cool the water down lower than they're normally getting, which actually makes their turbine cycle more efficient. Their power curve goes up. So they send in the very hot water to us, and we have another heat exchange inside of our tower. It's very much like the radiator in your car. The hot water comes in, the air goes through the radiator, carrying the heat away, and then we just return cold water. So nothing goes up our tower except for clean, hot air. It gets sucked in, goes through the heat exchange, and exits the top of the tower. There's no mist or water vapors or any kind of gases in our tower. It's just pure hot air. So waste heat recovery as a cure for a major pain. This is Diablo Canyon on the coast of California, about halfway up. Currently, they are dumping over 4 gigawatts, that's 4,000 megawatts of heat, 4,000 T, thermal, into the ocean constantly, 24/7. 4 gigawatts. We're saying, don't do that. And of course, there's 450 nuclear power plants around the world that are going to be doing this rather shortly. About 2/3 of the nuclear power plants dump their heat into big bodies of water or the ocean, 3/4 actually. So here's the after. All the heat gets pumped into our towers you see over here. No more pumping out of the water. All the heat goes up our towers, and we will produce at least another megawatt from the 4 they're throwing away. Hopefully closer to 2. But we're going to promise at least 1 and no more pumping into the water. So here's South Korea, which is 1/4 of the size of California. Yet their little peninsula here is ringed with 29 nuclear power plants, 5 of which are under construction. So they're baking their fishing industry. We could take that heat they're throwing away and produce 20 gigawatts and no more baking of the ocean. So please help us add terawatts of clean and renewable energy worldwide and help us stop the baking of our oceans.